Um, Hello everyone, good evening. Hello, good evening. Can you all hear me? Hello, good evening. Can you all hear me? Please, if you can hear me, just confirm that you can hear me. Maybe by thumbs up or something, so that we just know that
Yes, I
you are
can hear
seeing
you.
me. Okay, I want to assume that we can all hear me. Thank you all for joining. Welcome to week 5 of the Gypsy Mentorship and Internship Program. It has been quite a ride so far, right? I noticed how we have been committed to class. We have tried our possible best to make sure we are keeping up with sessions. So thank you so much for the consistency over time. We are coming well closer and closer to the end of the program. But for particularly the data privacy and protection class, this will be the last session we'll be having on data privacy and protection. So please, let's reach out to as many people in our friend group that are taking part in this program as possible so that we can have a full class. Please, presenters for both group, get ready for your presentation. We'll be taking presentations not too long from now. We have some of our mentors already on the call. So not to waste any further time, I'll just go straight to introduce them. My name is Dennis Williams, for sake of introduction, and I will be your moderator for today. So to introduce our mentors, we're expecting in class today Mr. Emmanuel Uwere. We hope he's able to join us. Also, we are expecting Mr. Ridwan Badmos. We are okay. We already have in class Miss Jadisola Person. Thank you so much, Ma, for joining. We are happy to have you again in our session. It has been an amazing journey with you, like having you in class, walking us through some of the very core details of data privacy and protection. And last but not least, a new mentor we are expecting in today's session is Mr. Mateos Passos. So, Mr. Okay, I think he's a prof now, but just for the sake of just because I am not necessarily completely sure, Mr. Mateos Passos is a data protection officer Europe at Cycle K member of the EDBPS School of Experts, former Global Data Protection Officer at Bolt, former Data Protection Officer at L'Oréal Portugal, former Assistant Data Protection Officer at the European Association of Data Protection Professionals, co-founder of Data UX, a Brazilian consulting and training company in data protection, information security, and related matters such as artificial intelligence and blockchain. Since 2004, he has been an assistant professor in different universities, working in several higher education institutions in Brazil and Portugal. So these are his qualifications. If you're interested in training courses, mentoring, or participation in lectures and events, don't hesitate to contact him at, so that is his email address. If you at any point want to contact Mr. Matthias, you can do well to do that. I'll share the flyers in your subgroup so that if you want to reach out to him, you can do that. But for today's class, while we wait for our other mentors to join, in today's class, we'll be discussing navigating data protection regulation, the essential rules of a data protection officer, right? And like I said, or like I mentioned, we already have Mrs. or Miss Jadisola, sorry, um, already on the call to help us run through the session. So, Miss Jadisola, thank you so much for joining in. We are happy to have you in class. So yes, please, Ma, just like we usually do, please, we would want to get an introduction into the topic for today while the mentees take presentations after you are done. Ms. Jalisola, are you with us now?
Oh, yes, yes, I am. Good evening, everyone. Let me just give can you hear me? Please give me a thumbs up if you can
Okay.
hear me.
I don't think I'm really hearing. I don't know if it's from you.
Okay, other
Can
people, you
anyone
can
hear
hear
me?
me, Abby.
Yes, ma, we can
Okay, can
hear
Okay,
anyone hear
you.
Ms.
done, done.
Jalisola?
Okay, all right, fantastic. So, like I told Sophie earlier, I'm in church. So, you people will hear a couple of
Can anyone hear Ms.
background
Jalisola? Please,
noises.
let's confirm.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma, we
Hello?
can hear you.
Okay, so
Yes,
I think
ma, we
it comes
can
up to me
hear
now.
you.
Okay, fantastic. So, like I was saying, I'm currently in church.
A lot of background noises. I hope you people are able to hear me. So today we are looking at navigating data protection regulation, particularly the role of a DPO. There is no need for me to start explaining who a data protection officer is. I know that we have already, gone past that, and we are aware that every data, every data processor or controller of major importance is expected to have a DPO. So I will not even disturb us with that. So I'll just quickly gloss over the roles of a DPO. DPO has their role as advisors. And as a DPO, you are expected to educate and guide the organization on what the data protection laws and obligations are. What are the best practices for handling personal data? What are the risks associated with processing data in a particular way? You have an advisory role as a data protection officer, which is even the reason why organizations are encouraged and expected to have a DPO. It is a DPO that says this product we are about to launch and the data that we need to collect. What are the risks of collecting such data? They are the ones that advise on doing. They are the ones on advice on doing a DPI if necessary, how to handle a data breach, and all that, and all that. The data protection officer also has um a role in monitoring compliance with the rules. The DPA actually ensures that the organization follows data protection rules, has a role to play in training and awareness. The NDPC expects that the staff are trained at least once in a year on how to handle personal data, how to know when there is a breach, how to escalate a breach, and their responsibilities when it comes to data protection. They also act like as a liaison officer between the organization and the public on matters that have to do with personal data. So that is why you would find that it is compulsory for a privacy notice or privacy policy to have the information of the data protection officer. Um, the data protection officer also manages the situation where there is a breach, helps to assess the severity of the breach, report to the NDPC, contact the data subject affected, and all of that. So I think I'll leave you to in your presentation to tell us why the role of the data protection officer is important. I'm hoping that somebody touches on this in their
Can you hear me?
presentation. If not, I'll touch on it. So let me stop here. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Miss Jalisola. So sorry, I'm having a little issues with my speaker on my other device. So sorry, I had to join in with a second device. So please Miss, we've gotten an introduction into the discourse for today. I'm not, well, we'll be expecting our other mentors to join in not too long from now, by God's grace. But while we wait for them, we would like to take presentations from the mentees. Please, sincere apologies for the noise in my background. So let's go ahead and run through your presentation, Group 1 and Group 2. Please, I hope you guys are set for your presentation. Presenter for Group 1, if you're ready, we would like to take your presentation now. Presenter for Group 1, if you're ready, we'd like to take your presentation now. Okay, while Group 1 is okay.
Yeah, hi, good evening. I'm so sorry, but our main presenter said she's not going to be available. So I guess our backup should have to step forward for the presentation this evening.
Okay. So why please you people should try and sort that out so that you can have one of your backups step in.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, Grace, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'll be taking over stepping in
All
as the
right, so
backup presenter.
please go ahead. If you would need help with your slides, just let me know.
Please, I will need the help, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
So sorry for the delay. Please kindly give me a minute to do that.
All right, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. All right.
Please, you can go ahead.
Oh, I'm not sure you. Please, do I have a lot of background noise, so it's okay? Can
So
you hear
you
me
said,
clearly? I said, do I have a lot of background noise, so it's okay, it's fine.
okay, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay. I'm just going to. I think we have 7 minutes, sir. Just to confirm.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
How many minutes do we have?
10 minutes.
Okay, then thank you. Our topic is understanding the role of a data protection officer, importance of compliance and enforcement in data protection. I'll be presenting on behalf of Group 1. Let's just go straight into it. Sir, please, you can go to the next slide. Roles of data protection officer, that's the DPO. So we've started with just a basic definition. A data protection officer is a designated independent individual that can be an internal or external employee that is saddled with the responsibility of overseeing a company's compliance or an organization's compliance with applicable data protection laws. So a data protection officer manages the overall data protection strategy. He monitors compliance to protect customers' data and ensure that confidential information from the organization is not leaked to the public. And just to ensure that okay, the authorized persons to a particular data has the access, it does not fall into wrong hands. So everything regulating a company's data protection rules, compliance with laid down principles and everything, it is the data protection officer of an organization that takes care of it. And it can be internal or external for them to, find somebody that would come in and then from time to time take a look at how they are complying with laid down rules and regulation. Paragraph 3, um, sub 7 of the NDPR implementation framework, it requires that for a person to be appointed as a DPO, the person have to have a professional expertise and in-depth understanding of the Nigerian data protection laws and practices, having due regard to the nature of the processing activities and data protection issues that arise within the organization. So we can see the person has to have the understanding of the data protection laws and practices and also the data protection issues that can arise within the organization. And the responsibilities of a data protection officer can be found in section 32 sub 3 paragraph A to C of the NDPA 2023, and they include advising the data controller or the data processor and their employees, monitoring compliance with the act and related policies of data controller or data processor. So the core responsibilities of a data protection officer is monitoring compliance. That's very, very important because lack of that can have grave consequences. Advising the organization on how they can improve their data protection strategies, on how they can better protect their data. Training and awareness, because that's very important. If not, there will be some internal leakage and a lot of, shall I say, unwanted incidences. Data protection impact assessment, that's also a responsibility of a data protection officer. Then liaising with regulatory authorities and handling subject data issues. So let's move to the next slide. The next slide, qualifications and skills of a data protection officer. So obviously not everybody can be a data protection officer. They need to have some skills and then get some qualifications. So we see they say there are legal qualifications, that's expert knowledge of data protection law as required, and then knowledge of lawful basis of processing data, data subject right, etc. And it says that a legal training or a legal background is not like necessarily required. And then you also need knowledge of regulatory framework. So what a data protection officer must have to be qualified, you must be knowledgeable of lawful basis of protecting data subject rights, expert knowledge of data protection law, first and foremost. And then there are technical qualifications. That's understanding of information systems, cybersecurity knowledge, data protection impact assessment. For it to be a data protection officer, you should obviously know how to carry out data protection impact assessment. And then core competencies include compliance and advisory skills, independence and integrity, communication skills, risk management, and organizational skills. These are more of like soft skills that a data protection officer must have. Let us move to the next slide, please. Thank you, sir. Appointment process of a data protection officer. So it says appointment is mandatory where the data processing is carried out by a public authority or the core activities involve regular and systematic monitoring, or where there is large scale processing of special category data, then there needs to be an appointment of a data processing data protection officer. I think I've been saying it wrong. Data protection officer. So under section 32 of NDPA, a data controller of major importance is mandated to designate a data protection officer with expert knowledge of data protection law and practices. So a data controller of major importance is, let's say, where there is a lot of personal data of a lot of data subjects that are within Nigeria, where, let's say, they have a lot of how am I going to put it? Data that has a lot of weight. Yes, let me use that English. Data that has a lot of weight attached to it. Then where there's a data control of major importance, you have to designate a data protection officer. And it says organization may adopt one like different approaches to appoint a data protection officer. So there could be internal appointments, external appointments, and then we must the appointment must, look at the skills, look at the qualifications that are needed. Let's go to the next slide, please. Thank you, sir. Compliance and enforcement in data protection. So obviously there are laid down rules in Nigerian Data Protection Act and a lot of other laid down rules that must be followed when it comes to enforcement of data protection laws and the likes. So it says compliance is critical not only to safeguard customers' rights but also to avoid penalties that can reach up to 2% of annual revenue. So if this compliance is not followed strictly, there could be a lot of consequences on the side of breach of data and even financial consequences, penalties, sanctions that the organization would have to pay and have to observe. Compliance with the NDPA 2023, the NDPA Act, is not only a legal requirement, but it's also a business imperative. So it's saying by adopting strong data protection practices, companies can build trust with their customers and maintain a reputation of integrity. Let's move on to the next slide. So we are looking at the importance of compliance and enforcement. So we can see that there are key obligations. There are laid down rules and then things that organizations have to follow to ensure that they are complying with these data protection rules. And here we can also see the importance. Said the importance of data privacy is underscored by several key factors. So protection against theft, fraud, regulatory compliance to avoid legal and financial penalties. I think I did mention that. Cybersecurity resilience in the face of persistent threats, trust, and reputation. Because when we're talking of data protection, we're also talking of cybersecurity. If an unethical hacker can breach um maybe a particular data, it could lead to cyber threat, it could lead to cyber attack that an organization would not want. And so it says there are penalties for non-compliance. Major important controllers, they are to pay 2% of annual gross revenue or 10 million, whichever is greater. 2% of annual gross revenue or 2 million, whichever is greater. So we see compliance with the NDPA 2023 is not only a legal requirement, but is also a business imperative. It is a must. So companies that adopt strong data protection can protect customer rights, very important, build trust, and then maintain a reputation for integrity. Yes, I think I already mention that. So thank you so much. So that comes to the end of our presentation. Thank you, Sam. That's the end of our presentation, Sam.
Yes, yes, sorry, I was trying to unmute, it wasn't coming on. Thank you very much, Grace, for stepping in to make the presentation on behalf of your group. Well done to you and to your team for putting it together. So can we have group two's presentation now? So the
Oh,
November
good day, sir.
22. Yes, good day, Mr. Richard.
Yeah, I'll need help for the slide, sir. Thank you. The presentation slide.
Okay, just a minute. Let me bring them up.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, please go ahead.
Okay. Good day, everyone. So today we'll be discussing the navigating data protection regulations. So focus will be on the essential roles carried out by a data protection officer. So we can move on to the next. So basically, the core responsibilities of a data protection officer can be grouped into three main areas, which are overseeing of policies and procedures, acting as a liaison between various stakeholders, and also monitoring compliance of an organization, while also assessing data protection risk within an organization. So the first role is overseeing of policies and procedures. So is the role of of a data protection officer to oversee the policies and procedures of an organization, thereby ensuring that the design and the guidelines meets industry standards. And also the data protection officer is also in charge with training of the employees or staff of the organization to clearly understand the obligation as regards to data protection laws or policies. And this is in line with section 32A of the Nigerian Data Protection Act, which states that the data protection officer is meant to advise the organization and its employees on their obligations, on their various obligations. So the second role is a liaison role. So basically, DPO serves as a bridge between DPO serves as a bridge between organizations, regulatory authorities, and data subjects. So this involves responding to regulators. It also involves supporting audits, carrying out monitoring and reporting, and also ensuring that data subjects are treated properly within the legal timelines and within the stipulations of of industry practice. Can you move to the next slide, sir? Okay. So the third role is one of monitoring compliance and risk assessments. So the DPO is meant to monitor and carry out risk assessments, which can include such responsibilities as ensuring adherence to laws, conducting audits, and various assessments, ensuring that safeguards are up and in place to guard data within an organization. So in essence, the DPO serves as an internal check, ensuring that what organization does on paper aligns with best practice within the world of data protection. And this is in line with section 32B of the Nigerian Data Protection Act, which states that a data protection officer monitors compliance with data laws and organizational policies. So can we move on to the next slide, sir? Sorry, the next one. Okay, so we'll move on to the penalties for non-compliance. So non-compliance with data protection laws carries consequences. And under the Nigerian Data Protection Act, it can bring about legal ramifications, financial penalties, such as fines, which can be up to 10% or 2% of annual gross revenue, and various sanctions to that effect. We can move on to the next slide. So, like I stated earlier, there are legal ramifications and financial penalties. So the legal ramifications can be in form of personal liability, criminal prosecution, reputational damage, and so forth. Then the financial penalties can be fines, compensation claims by those who have suffered a wrong or injury due to the non-compliance, and also investigations and fines thereabouts. So we can move on to the next lesson. So the next topic at hand is the best practice for data protection compliance. So to avoid these consequences as stated above, organizations must adopt strong compliance measures, which can be implementing robust data protection measures such as data encryption. So data encryption is can be said to be a process of converting data into secure formats that cannot be read without authorization. Then access control, which is a way to ensure that only authorized persons can access certain data, which includes use of passwords, users' permission, using of multi-factor authentication, and so forth. Then also there's some proactive strategies that can be used to mitigate the risk of and ensure mitigate risk of data breach and ensure compliance, which can be in the form of staff training and awareness. So this when employees are trained regularly on data protection policies, password security, and how to handle data properly, and also on how to reduce human error, which is one of the biggest causes of data breach. Then regular audits and policy reviews. So organizations can carry out periodical reviews of their data protection policies, conduct audits, and so forth to ensure that there's no form of weakness or to correct any weakness that is seen through the audits. Then also accountability and incident response planning, which shows how that there should be a clear plan. The DPO should create a clear plan on how the organization will respond to data breaches or cyber incidents, and also show accountability and documentation. And we can move on to the next slide, sir. So conclusively, a data protection officer is a very key figure in an organization's compliance framework. So they help guide, they help monitor, they help communicate and manage risk. So every organization must have a data protection officer for it to be able to comply with various laws concerning data protection within the framework of the country they are in. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Richard, for helping us run through your brief presentation. Well done to you and to your team for putting it together. So yes, we've gone through presentations from both group one and group two, but unfortunately we have not been able to get a hold of any of our other mentors. But we trust that Ms. Jabisola, on being here, should be able to run us through just what is left of the class in terms of questions and the feedback we'll be taking in regards to the presentation. So, Ms. Jabisola, please, do you have feedback for our mentees? and also any other thing you would like to share in class while we take questions, and after questions we can take pictures and then we call it a close on class. The class doesn't necessarily have to be very lengthy.
Um, okay. So I'll start from the last presenter. I don't know what happened though. Maybe I'm the one that is distracted. But the presentation was so boring. I'm struggling to keep up. Put some life, put some life where you're presenting. You worked on the slide now. So um you should be able to, I don't know how to explain it, like own it, own the presentation when you are doing it. Another thing that I did not see is that there are no what we call cases. I'm sure that if you do your research properly, you will see organizations that were signed because they do not have data protection officers and things like that. So you cannot say that there are no case laws that you can use there. The reason why you're putting case law is not to make your presentation um, more, it's not to bamboozle anybody. It's because when you read cases and you read the principles, you are able to understand the principles better. Right. So those are my comments for now. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Ma, for your comments. All right, so not to still waste any time, I want to ask if there are questions in the sessions we would like to ask. Do we have questions in in the session that we would like to ask? I don't know questions. Do we not have questions? The questions doesn't necessarily have to be from just the session. You can ask any questions just overall within the data protection and privacy space. And I'm sure Ms. Chabisola would be ready to run us through them. So please, if you have a question, let's have it.
Good evening again, sir.
Yes, good
I
evening
wanted to
again.
ask for you to, like, good evening, sir. For the qualifications and skills of a data protection officer, is it mandatory, or let's say, is it mandatory or advisable, either way, to have knowledge of cybersecurity?
So it's not mandatory. It's not expressly stated in any law that there must be knowledge of cybersecurity, but it is advisable. It is necessary. So what you find in certain organizations is you find a representative from maybe from law or something, and then you find a representative from InfoSec, information security, because data is moving through it's a network that is, you need the expertise of cybersecurity to be able to tighten and put in necessary. Why are you walking around? You want to join them? Go upstairs. Go upstairs. What are you looking for here? Sorry. What? Sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm in church and I'm just managing 20 things. Yeah, so it is advisable, but it is not mandatory.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you very much, Ma, and thank you, Grace. Do we still have any other person with a question that they would like to ask?
Because in our presentation we talked about technical, sir.
So please go ahead. Go ahead. I noticed
Okay.
you were asking a question, so I kept quiet.
Okay. In our presentation, we mentioned technical qualifications, understanding of information systems, and then there's data protection, impact assessment, etc. So this, I'm not sure if that's something that to be taught here. I don't think so. Do we have to go and take like separate courses and to have these technical qualifications to be a data protection officer?
Can I jump in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you would find that even when you want to register the role of a DPO with the NDPC, they are going to ask you for certificate of training, right? Which arguably they are supposed to validate. So what this means is that you are expected to be trained. You know, there is this training, yes, that gives you like a general overview as much as possible. But it also makes sense for you to, you know, if this is a career that you want to consider, it makes sense for you to pursue other um should I say learning opportunities now or certification just to help you. There are plenty legs to it. You already mentioned one of it, which is the data protection impact assessment. There is so many things that is contained in data protection, developing the policies, data, what is it called now? Document management policies, document management systems, and all those things, document labeling, cross-border transfers. There are too many elements for you to just have like basic knowledge. So this is just like foundation. If you want, or if you desire to pursue a career here, you can take other certification courses, and those ones we take like we do like a deep dive. You even have some courses that are particularly on DPIA. You have some courses that are particularly on encryption. So if you want to, why not?
So much.
All right, thank you very much, Ma. We can still take a few more questions. If we have any to ask, we can still take a few more questions. If you are not in a position where you can ask your question, you can always do that through the chat box. Okay, Mr. Victor, please go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. So my question is just, please, are there any specific data protection officer or something DPO training that our mentors advise that we can get in, and then in order to build ourselves to be certified as a DPO? Are there like specific trainings? That's all. Thank you.
Okay, so while you may not have like trainings that are particularly just titled um data protection trainings or whatever, you'd find a lot of institutions having data protection courses, and some of them are accredited by. I would advise that if you want to do the one done by any organization, check the NDPC. If you have any organization proposing DPO course to you, data protection officer course, is one of the courses that a lot of them do. Just check the NDPC website and confirm that they are registered DPCOs, that's data protection compliance organizations. I can't remember. I don't know why the names are off my head now, but I did one in Ikeja like last year. I can't remember the name of the organization. If I remember, I'll text it to one of the contact person. Maybe they will tell you later in class, right? We have data privacy professionals in Africa. They have trainings that they do. DPP, you can check them on LinkedIn. You can also do CIPPE. That these are like international certifications. You can do CIPM. You know, yeah. There's that one in Nigeria, in Ikeja. If you're in Lagos, I'll check the name so that I can confirm. But those are the ones that I know. That one in Ikeda, it was like a 3 days training, and I must tell you, it was really intense. We even did exam that we had to study for and all that. So yeah, that's it.
All right, thank you so much, Ma. So please, if we will get back to you if she remembers and she sends it to us. We'll do well to share those things with you. So the intention of this mentorship is to give you a foundation where you can learn directly from a mentor, right? You can get access to also materials, you can get access to knowledge, and even probably get access to materials and other things that can be very, very helpful in advancing yourself in your career. So yes, that is that. So sorry about the noise in my background. So I think what we can do is, well, seeing that we have generally covered most of the grounds on the data privacy and protection costs, and even for the rules of the ADPO, and we've had some discussions around it. I think it's safe to say that we can call it a day in class. Sorry once again that we could not have our other mentors with us. They were indisposed and we couldn't lay a hood on them. So sorry about that. So please, can we just quickly turn on our videos for a quick picture so that we can take our pictures? Yes, please, can we turn on our videos? Thank you. Thank you. This is probably the last time we'll be doing this under the data privacy and protection class. So please let's try to do that. Thank you. Okay, I can still see more people turning on their videos. Thank you guys. Okay. All right. So we are done. So we are done. Thank you everyone for that. So the dynamics of class will be changing come next week. The information will be sent to you in class, including your tasks for the week, your new tasks for the week. So please do well to pay attention to what we'll be sharing in your group in the next, well, between today and tomorrow, right? So tomorrow is Easter. For those who are celebrating, happy Easter in advance. Please do enjoy the rest of your evening and bye bye.
Okay.